Hello there, Year 6ers, it's Mr. Conway here. Now for today's how-to guide, it's for today's maths lesson, which is to use simple formulae. And formulae is just a plural form of the word formula. So first of all, I want to just have a bit more focus on the language that we're using. And the language we're going to be using is calculation, an algebraic expression, and an algebraic formula. Now already you might be thinking, Mr. Conway, my head cannot even cope with all these words. I'm just going to explain them very easily to you now. So the first word we're going to be looking at is calculation. Now, calculation is something you're already very familiar with. It will be, for example, we could have 25 equals 100 divided by 4. That's all a calculation is, okay? So calculation, we're just using digits. We have a question, we have an answer, we have our equal sign. So calculations is something you've been doing your entire time whilst you've been at Charlton Primary School. So that's a calculation, okay? The next thing I'd like to have a look at is something called an algebraic. Just checking my spelling there. Yep, an algebraic expression. Now, an algebraic expression might sound like a really new and different word for you, but however, as soon as I show you what an algebraic expression is, you'll see a similarity to the previous videos we've been doing. So one example of an algebraic expression is simply 9 plus 3y. Okay? So hopefully this isn't scaring you, because something that looks like this we would have been working on in previous lesson, okay? So the expression of this uses a combination of digits and letters, but you'll notice there is no equal sign, okay? It's no equal sign. So this is just an algebraic expression. It's an expression because there's no equal sign, and it's algebraic, well, because we've got a few letters in there. Okay, so that is an algebraic expression. The final one I'm going to share with you now is an algebraic formula. Now, I probably should have just kept the word algebraic on my whiteboard. So algebraic formula. So an algebraic formula is very, very similar to an algebraic expression, and let's going to do one quick example. If I could use an algebraic formula to find the area of a rectangle, would be a great example. So if I drew a rectangle and I put A, B, and C, to work out the area of a rectangle, you know it's length times width, and that gives you your area. So I could rewrite this as A times B equals C. So this is an algebraic formula, because using this formula I will get an answer because there's an equal sign. So I could do A times B equals C. This formula would tell me the area of any rectangle. So an algebraic formula will always have an equal sign in there. It's a rule, okay? It will give you an answer. And it's algebraic, once again, because we've got letters in there. So that's just a calculation, algebraic formula, and an algebraic expression as just a bit of language, terminology that you will need for algebra for today's lesson and for future lessons. But the actual task today is going to be looking at this, okay? So this is a Learn It, and I'm going to talk you through the steps and how to answer questions like this. So first of all, let's read this problem and see if we can find any important information. It says, Hattie needs to take a taxi to the airport, which is 12 miles from her house. So I'm just going to draw a line on 12 miles. It's probably going to be important information for later on. She would like to know how much it's going to cost her. So this is what I need to calculate. I need to calculate the cost. Okay, and I've definitely got a formula here because I've got an equal sign. Now then, there is a £1.50 charge, line that again, £1.50 charge for booking the taxi. It will then cost £0.80, that's 80p per mile travelled. So for every mile the taxi travels, you'll have to pay 80p. So for 2 miles travelled, you'd have to pay £1.60, okay? Right, so she could use the formula, and here's the formula here. Now straight away, we know this is definitely a formula because I've got an equal sign there. It's an algebraic formula because I've got letters and digits. So what does this mean then? First of all, C equals 1.50 plus 0.8m. Now already you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I'm slightly confused by this, but don't worry, you know maths is all about spotting those patterns. What is the pattern here between this formula and all this information we discovered? Well, let's have a look first of all at C. What does C mean? What is C? Why have they picked C as a letter? Hattie needs to take a taxi to the airport, which is 12 miles from her house. She would like to know how much it's going to cost her. The cost is what I'm trying to calculate. So I think C is the same as cost. Okay, so I understand this now. An equal sign, so all this added together will equal the cost. 1.50. Now, where on earth did this decimal come from? Look at any important information I found. Here we are. 1.50. That's my £1.50. I'm going to put a little pound sign there just to remind me what it is. Add sign, I'm happy with that. Nope, another decimal, 0.8, and then my algebra is an M. Looking at my important information in my question. I have £0.8, 80 pence. So my 0.8 must be to do with this, but the M, why an M? Well, it'd be M for miles. So the cost will equal £1.50 plus 0.8 miles. But that's slightly confusing because my 0.8, that's in pounds and pence. And my M is in miles. So I've got two different unit measurements here. But if you remember from a previous video, what did I mention to you about digits directly next to an algebraic letter? I'm just going to write it up here. 0.8. What's missing here? What operation is missing? That's right, it's the multiplication. 0.8 multiplied by m. And if you remember, the reason we don't have the x, we admit it, is because the multiplication sign looks like the letter x, and it can confuse us when using algebra. So we take that out altogether, and we just simply write 0.8 m. So what I'm going to do, just underneath, in brackets, I'm going to put a little time sign in brackets, just to help me. There should be a multiplication sign there. Right, so now I've kind of dissected my formula. Let's see if we can actually have a go at answering the question now. So C equals £1.50, so I'm going to put 1.50 plus 0.8 multiplied by the miles. But what is m? What is the value of m? Hattie needs to take a taxi to the airport, which is 12 miles. So with my letter m, I need to replace it. I need to substitute it with the number 12. So on here, I might just write a little note for myself. M equals 12. But I'm not going to write I could write it actually. It will work. 0.8 multiplied, not m, but 12 this time. 0.8 multiplied by 12. Now, because I've got a few different operations here, and this is isolated, this is just one part of the formula, I'm actually going to put some brackets around there, because that's going to help me a lot. Now I've removed all of my letters and they've been substituted with digits, I can now have a go at solving this calculation. C equals 1.50 plus 0.8 multiplied by 12. Now the brackets are there and they're going to be very useful because it will help you if you write this down, bod mass. And as I write these answers down, see if you can remember what they mean. This is the order that you use to solve calculations when you've got multiple operations in there. So the B stands for brackets. O is for order, and all order means is anything that's squared or cubed, okay, to the power of. D obviously is for division. M for multiplication. What's A then, everyone? Yeah, nice and easy. Addition, and finally the final one, subtraction. Right, so if I follow my BODMAS rule, I'm going to go back to my calculation. B for bracket, this is what I need to do first. 0.8 multiplied by 12. Now there are a few different ways you could do this. You could write a written calculation if you wanted to, but what I think might be an easier way of just using I could partition the 12 into 10 and 2. And instead do 0.8 multiplied by 10, because that's an easy one to do, so I can do 0.8 multiplied by 10, and because I'm multiplying a decimal by 10, my place value will move to the left of the decimal point 1, so my 8 tenths will become 8 1, so I'm going to have 8 wholes, and then multiply my 8 by 2. 8 multiplied by 2 is 16. So in brackets, this is going to equal 16, so I'm going to rewrite my formula. C equals 1.50 plus, and my brackets I know is equal to 16. Now it's looking very simple all of a sudden. So to calculate my cost, which is what I need to do 1.50. Oh, the lights have gone out. Don't worry about it. And we know that's pounds and pence plus 16. And we know that the unit measurement for this was in pounds and pence, so we can put our pound sign back there again. So £1.50 plus £16, C equals £17 and 50p. So how much does it cost Hattie to get to the airport? It will cost Hattie £17 and 50 pence. Now then, in these kind of expressions and these kind of calculations, there are quite a lot of steps. If you use your BODMAS, that would be very, very helpful. But the actual mathematical calculations you need to do are very simple. All I've done there is 0.8 multiplied by 12 and then 1.50 plus 16. So, as long as you take a calm approach to this Year 6s, it will be fine and you will have fun solving. You've got to be a bit of a detective. Algebra is a fantastic way and it's definitely the next step for you guys as Year 6s. So there we are, that's how you can use a formula to help you solve a calculation. Have a lovely day everyone, and if you need any more help, please stop me and let me know. Alright then Year 6s, goodbye for now.